Hello and welcome back to UCL Review. Yes, it's semi-final time of the best sporting competition in the world. Joining me today, it's the best of the best. It's Michael McCubs. How are you, McCubs, on this Tuesday evening?
Yeah, I'm very well, Diggs. Very well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I had a little pizza pre-game, had a little beer pre-game as well. Pumped me up for the game, and what a first half we had. But McCubs, let's take it away. Real Madrid versus Chelsea. What went down?
Well, yeah, Chelsea, I think, come out of this game the slightly happier side, don't they? They've got that crucial away goal, 1-1 at the Alfredo Di Stefano against Real Madrid. Obviously, Pulisic opening the scoring and Benzema replying in that first half as well. The Blues went into this game in pretty solid form. They'd won 3 of their 4 games since that shock 5-2 defeat to West Brom on the Easter weekend. That included an FA Cup semi-final win against Man City, a very composed and mature performance from them at Wembley, and a crucial game against West Ham as well. And Tuchel surprised everyone by naming the same side that had beaten the Hammers 1-0 at the weekend. Obviously, you were expecting a little bit of rotation, considering what a congested season it's been, and the lack of the lack of days of preparation between then and now. But Kovacic, who probably would have started a game like this, obviously he's been excellent for them in the Champions League in the last 2 seasons. He was ruled out facing his former side with a hamstring injury, so Tuchel went with Kante and Jorginho in midfield behind Mount, Werner and Pulisic, who were really, really effective in that first half, weren't they? Zidane, in contrast, mixed it up. He went for a back 5 with Militao, Varane and Nacho, with Carvajal and Marcelo either side. And this isn't something that he's alien to, but it's certainly not a system that we've seen them play a lot this season, especially not in big games as well at home. So it was a bit of a surprise, to say the least. And they just looked pretty all over the place, didn't they? Especially in that first kind of 25-30 minutes, and Chelsea just took advantage. I kind of felt like Real Madrid, they have been accused of it in the past, in this season in particular, of employing quite a high press, but not really having much going on once their opponents break through that press. And that's what we saw in this first half, wasn't it? As soon as Chelsea broke through out the press, there was so much space in that midfield. I thought Nacho and kind of Marcelo's relationship was a bit weird, because Marcelo was playing quite a roaming role, despite, should have probably been playing more wide in that wing-back position. So Nacho was constantly getting pulled out wide just to cover ground. And Chelsea almost scored after 9 minutes, didn't they? Mount made that a lovely mazy dribble that led to a shot from himself, deflected, and then Pulisic headed a cross goal. And Werner's shot somehow didn't find the back of the net. Lots of hate for him, as there has been in terms of his finishing ability this season. It hasn't been up to scratch, but at the same time, what a save from Courtois. I think from 6 yards out, you're not really expected to have to direct the shot anywhere. Most of the time, I think that goes in. An excellent save from Courtois with his feet. But 4 minutes later, what a goal from Pulisic. Rudiger clipped a great ball over to him. Varane and Nacho ran to the goal line instead of trying to close him down. Although I think he kind of had the initiative there from the get-go, and he rounded Courtois to tuck away. And I think just, to have a player like Pulisic in this game, I think was really important for Chelsea. He's had a pretty quiet season until the last month, but out of those attackers, he has that kind of star quality and that confidence around one of the best keepers in the world in a Champions League semi-final is not to be sniffed at. In the process, he became the first American to score in a UCL semi-final and just the 5th to do so in the knockouts, full stop. And at 22 years old, he also became Chelsea's youngest ever scorer in the semi-finals. But that kind of issued Real Madrid a bit of a wake-up call, I think. After that, they still looked very shaky defensively, but at least they started to attack Chelsea more after 22 minutes. Benzema created a chance out of nothing that hit the post. What a goal that would have been from 25 yards out. And then 6 minutes later, he came calling again. This time after Los Blancos worked a short corner, Casemiro's header, which, in getting to the ball also completely took out Azpilicueta, left with his face in the mud. That was flicked on by Militao, and Benzema lashed home his 71st UCL goal. What a turn and finish in the centre of the box. That moves him a joint 4th in the all-time scorers list in the Champions League alongside Raul. I think it's him, Messi, Ronaldo, and I forget who's third. Oh, of course, Lewandowski. So it's pretty amazing to see the top 4 players who are all still playing now the top 4 Champions League scorers. But that was pretty much as exciting as it got. The second half wasn't nearly anywhere near as eventful. Tuchel made a triple change, bringing on James, Havertz and Ziyech for Aspi, Pulisic and Werner kind of midway through the second half. Zidane sent on Eden Hazard. Not to much effect, to be honest. Vinicius was pretty quiet aside from a couple of promising bursts in that first half, and Hazard was no more effective. And it kind of felt like Zidane just took them in at half time and basically said, stick to this shape religiously, and they just didn't give Chelsea much space in their half, and Madrid just didn't really attack at all in that second period, and it seemed like they were just happy to take the draw into the second leg. But I think on balance, Blues the much better side. Real had won 9 of their last 10 first legs in knockout ties, scoring at least 2 goals in 8 of those games. So to keep them at bay was impressive from Chelsea, but like I said, just Real Madrid just didn't really show much desire on what should have been a game in their advantage. The rain was lashing down. They're kind of used to these kind of conditions from recent big games where they've had similar downpours, and at home as well. I was pretty surprised, but fair play to Chelsea, because they take a really good result into that second leg at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, absolutely massive result for Chelsea, and it feels like Zidane got it slightly wrong. I mean, it was the rain in Spain causing quite a lot of pain for him, I felt. Thank you very much. I was looking to get that in on Twitter, and I couldn't find a way, unfortunately, so I thought I'd get it in on UCL Review. But I totally agree with you. That 5 at the back was kind of extraordinary. It felt like he sort of quite cowardly in a way, wanted to match up Chelsea man for man, but they didn't seem to have the legs in midfield that they did against Liverpool. Kroos, of course, coming back from injury as well. Thought that Marcelo, as a sort of left wing attacking midfielder, I don't really know where he was playing, was really ineffective. Left Nacho far too exposed, and it caused quite a few issues all across the back line, actually. I thought that sort of uncomfortableness of Nacho in that left flank. And Real Madrid going forward really didn't create anything at all. They had 9 shots, but only got 1 on target. Chelsea had 11 and 5. XG had it at 1.7 to 0.76 in Chelsea's favour, and Timo Werner had more XG to his name than the whole Real Madrid side. Since 2003-04, they've only had 1 game, Real Madrid, versus PSG in September 2019. I actually remember that game, doing a live stream on that, in which they had fewer shots on target in their history in the Champions League since 2003-04. So just goes to show how effectively Chelsea nullified them. They've now failed to beat Chelsea for the 4th time now in their history. That's their longest run without a win against an opponent in their history. And it felt like there was a few issues. They struggled to get Vinicius Jr. into the game. I mean, he looked lively on occasion, but in terms of end product, wasn't really getting himself into dangerous areas. Not just his fault. I felt like they didn't really create enough with the possession they did have. He had 1 dribble, created 2 chances, but failed to have a shot. Kroos, as I said, didn't probably look fully fit. He kept dropping so deep in between the 3-man centre-backs. I think the idea was to let Marcelo bomb on, but then he couldn't really find Marcelo with any diagonal balls either. But actually, if you just looked at his stats, Kroos seemed to play really well, which just goes to show that stats aren't everything. He completed 6 tackles and interceptions, 3 aerial duels, 2 key passes and 2 shots. So it was by no means a disaster, but he certainly didn't have that impact that he did in that first leg at the Alfredo Di Stefano against Liverpool. And maybe we shouldn't be totally surprised by this result, though. Tuchel is now unbeaten in 5 games against Los Blancos in this competition, with 1 win and 4 draws. In the competition's history, no one has met Real Madrid more times without losing. That's a really impressive record.
Wow.
This was Chelsea's 8th Champions League semi-final, more than any other English side, and it followed the usual pattern as well. The first legs of their last 7 ties have been notoriously low scoring. They featured just 6 goals, 4 for them and 2 against. In his time in charge of Chelsea, Tuchel has now faced Guardiola, Klopp, Solskjaer, Ancelotti, Bielsa, Simeone and Zidane, and lost against none of them. Remained unbeaten during all those games. The only managers he's lost against, Sergio Conceição and Aladici. You better believe it. West Brom's Aladici. What a stat. Love that stuff. Key performers for Chelsea. I thought they were really resolute throughout the whole backline. I thought Rudiger, Christensen, Thiago Silva as well manipulated the ball very well against a pretty vociferous Real Madrid press in that first sort of 20, 15 or so minutes as well. They didn't get nervous in the conditions either. They kept their footing. Rudiger I thought was immense. 92% pass accuracy, 1 interception, 1 aerial duel and had a shot as well. Pulisic was of course great, providing that key moment in that first half. He completed 2 tackles rather, completed 5 dribbles, created 3 chances, had 1 shot and 1 goal. Man of the match, though, there wasn't really any outstanding candidate, but I wanted to give it to Ngolo Kante. I thought his energy in midfield, he kind of ran Kroos and Modric off the pitch. I thought Mount probably had the better of his one-on-one against Modric as well. And Casemiro, his Zidane's insistence of playing him further forward than Kroos and Modric left them quite exposed during that first half as well. So Kante was probably the key man in that midfield. 2 tackles and interceptions, not his usual numbers, but 6 dribbles, 1 aerial duel, created a chance and completed 88% of his passes as well. Up next, sorry, McCubs.
I think he completed about 3 of those dribbles in one run in that second half. Going towards the edge of the box, just skinned 3 Real players. But anyway, sorry, Dukes, go on.
No, he is just brilliant to watch when he was like this as well. I mean, he's kind of, his role has kind of changed in this Chelsea midfield ever since Sarri arrived, I feel. And he's much more box to box now. He's much more comfortable going further forward as well. And he's just a really complete all-round midfielder. And when he's fully fit, there's no one really like him in the Premier League for me in that position. Anyway, up next, Real Madrid host Osasuna this Saturday. They've still got to play Sevilla, Athletic Club and Villarreal in the run-in as well, so it looks very unlikely that they'll win La Liga, especially with Barcelona knowing that if they win all their remaining games, they will be crowned champions. Meanwhile, Chelsea host Fulham on the same day. They're 4th, they're 3 points clear of West Ham as well, so they're in the driving seat in terms of top 4 qualification. I mean, McCubs, what would you like to give more credit to, the resolute Chelsea defence or a sort of toothless Real Madrid display? Because both were really impressive, as in surprising in their own way.
Yeah, I think kind of Chelsea set the tone, didn't they? In those first 25 minutes, just looked technically the much better side. That forward line, I know like Werner's got, has had a lot of stick this season, but I think he linked up the play in that forward line really well. Mount continues to show that he's a very consistent, an excellent final third operator. This is the second or third big performance we've seen from him in the Champions League this season against tough opposition. Pulisic as well, he produced the goods, and I think that those first 25 minutes really set the tone. And I think Zidane was, just a bit overly cautious from the get-go, but especially after that, it just felt like Madrid didn't really believe they could break through Chelsea. Aside from set pieces, really, I can't really think of them creating a big chance from open play in this game. No. So I think, for sure, it's a bit of both. Tuchel's Chelsea have been very resolute defensively, haven't they, in the last 3 months? But Real Madrid in the Champions League is a different proposition, even if it is a Real Madrid who have become a bit tired, have been worn down by injuries this season and whatnot. I still think going into that Stamford Bridge game, I still give Real Madrid a big chance because they just have a lot of players, especially Benzema. If Benzema has, puts in the same performance today, and we see a better performance, say, from Vinicius, and perhaps Modric has a bit more to say in the game, or Kroos has a big performance as well, then I think it's a different story. But I think on the night, it was only really Benzema doing it for Madrid. I think Chelsea can go in with confidence, but I'm still not writing off Real.
You make a good point about Real Madrid's injuries and their tiredness. I think they've had over 60 separate injuries this season. It might even be higher now. I think I saw that about a month ago. Yeah. And obviously in this game they were out with without Sergio Ramos, without Ferland Mendy, without Fede Valverde as well. So their bench, when they wanted to change it up, they couldn't really affect the game too much. It was Asensio and Eden Hazard coming on. Same with Odriozola. But in a weird way, I don't feel like either manager will be that delighted, just because Tuchel, they probably should have scored more than 1 goal. And just nailed home that advantage ahead of the second leg. But obviously, advantage probably is with Chelsea in this one. But I think it's going to be a fascinating tie next Wednesday at Stamford Bridge. Guys, we want to hear from you. Do Chelsea hold the advantage for you? Or could Real Madrid mount a comeback? Let us know in the comments down below. And that's all we've got time for on UCL Review for this week. We're not actually doing one on Thursday. Instead, me, Joe and Chris are doing a live stream on Football Daily tomorrow night, for Man City versus PSG, which should be an absolute cracker. McCubs, if they've enjoyed this show, though, what should they go and watch now?
They should go and check out our Explained from the weekend about why PSG and Bayern Munich chose not to join the Super League. Go and check out our other Explains on FD as well. Stay tuned for that live stream tomorrow, because I imagine that is going to be incredibly entertaining.
Oh, absolutely box office. Cannot wait. Mbappe fit as well. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.